topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to Powerful Business Strategies, where you will find out that everything you have ever learned about growing your business is wrong. Finally, a show where you'll learn the right way to grow your business by learning business and financial strategies that your competition isn't doing. And now, here is your host, President of Next Step CFO, Michael Barbarita. And joining Michael for today's show as an executive moderator is Chucky Obio.
Yes, this is Chucky, and I believe that gratitude is undefeated and growth is about the next step. It is an honor for me to moderate today's discussion with my good friend, Michael. Michael, how are you?
Oh, very good, Chucky, and I've grown a great appreciation for what you do after going solo last week.
Yeah, I heard it was actually one of the best shows. So
actually,
I have to go solo a few more times.
No, not really. You should have seen me fumbling over all the buttons. Well, thank you, Chucky. My name is Michael Barbarita, president of Next Step CFO. And Next Step CFO is a fractional CFO and strategic implementation firm. Our vision is to ensure overwhelmed business owners achieve the time freedom and consistent profits to build a legacy and the life they desire. Our mission is dedicated to guiding small business owners to leveraging their time, exploding their profits, and building a meaningful legacy. This show, Powerful Business Strategies, in our book of the same name, is a step toward accomplishing that vision and mission. So with that, I'd like to hand it back to my co-author and moderator for the show, Chucky Obio.
Michael, it's interesting. I always get energized when you use that phrase, meaningful legacy, because you and I both know a lot of the business owners that we work with, that's the number one goal, right? To really build that meaningful legacy. So look, before we jump in, I'm actually really enthralled by what we've put together for today's show. And let's start with the title, The 5 Critical Steps All Business Owners Need to Take to Scale. Before we jump into the wisdom for today's show, just a quick disclaimer. So look, Michael and I are both affiliated with a number of different organizations. I currently serve as a managing director of business development for Vetterprice, a global business-focused law firm. In addition to that, it's truly an honor to collaborate with Michael, where we moderate business roundtables coast to coast, really internationally. And we document powerful business strategies as part of these roundtables that we moderate, and then document these in our book called Powerful Business Strategies, which, as Michael noted, we continue to refine and update with new additions. But please note, the views expressed on this show are our personal views based on successful experiences. My mission as a fearless moderator is to ask the right questions to help you, the listener, learn the best business strategies that the competition isn't doing. Michael, over to you.
Thank you, Chucky. So, as an experienced business owner, I've been there. We all have those days when you lose that fire in the belly for what you do.
Yeah.
You know, the profession and business that you absolutely love, you all of a sudden hate because employees are being difficult, or banks are on your case, or vendors who say they want to be your partner when they're trying to get your business and then finally do get your business. Never act like a partner. And there are certain taxes that we pay and regulatory things that make no sense to us. We have cash flow problems. Inflation takes a bite out of our profits. And all these things don't seem to change no matter how many hours we work. And I could go on. I know this because I've experienced this. I remember when I was in the ski business going through this terrible mindset from time to time. Almost like you want to sell off everything at no price, and no matter what the price. And this show today identifies 5 critical steps that you must take to overcome all of these challenges that I mentioned and make us feel like we want to, those challenges that make us feel like we want to give up. And so in order to scale your business, and live the life that you so richly deserve, you must take these 5 steps. And as you can tell throughout the course of these radio shows, that I'm very passionate about what I do. And I could go on and on and on for days and days and days. And so, as you know, we covered in great detail strategies like position of market dominance, compelling offer,
Yes.
the conversion formula, the buyer's journey, risk reversal, the 7-step pathway to profit formula, and why all those strategies and more that we'll talk about in the future. Doesn't matter what the strategy is. Here's the thing. Whether you work with Next Step CFO or someone else, there are 5 steps that you're going to have to take in order for you to successfully execute and implement all of the strategies that we talk about in this show, and to be able to scale your business, and most importantly, create that life that you want. It is these 5 steps that I wish I knew in the business, when I was in the frozen cookie dough business, and when I was in the medical business. And without taking these 5 steps, you're wasting your time and money. So above and beyond understanding the mechanics of the strategies that we talk about in the show, there are 5 critical steps that you must take in order to properly implement and execute all of those strategies and other strategies that we will get into in future shows if you want to get to the next level in your business.
Yeah.
And the other important thing of great importance is that if you're planning to make any kind of move at all in your business, that's going to require an investment. And that includes things like running marketing campaigns, or includes coaching or consulting or any course on running your business. Once again, you have to make sure that whatever it is you're buying, it includes these 5 steps. And the reason why so many of these programs fail is because the program or the strategy does not incorporate into their program these 5 critical steps. So let me walk you through these 5 steps to be able to implement and execute any business strategy. The first is clarity. Before you can start to do tactical things, you must strategically understand, why am I doing this? Where am I going? What does success look like for me? Not in your business, but in your life. I've seen this mistake happen over and over again. And a lot of you are in this position right now where you're so excited to make your impact in the world that you jump out there and create a business. And now all of a sudden you have to change your life to fit this business thing that you created. And if you're able to access the chat, in the chat, put the word life if you experience this other than me. So the first step is to avoid all of that confusion. The way it should really work is to create the life we want, and then let the asset, which is the business, serve us and allow us to get to that life. Does that make sense? So that first step, and by the way, you see all the gurus tell you you're one funnel away, you're one marketing strategy away, or one email campaign away from hitting pay dirt. You're not. You're one clarity step away. It's the clarity that allows you to take all of the actions to get you there. Look, it's not your fault. No one has ever showed you how to go about getting clarity of direction to figure out where you're going. You're doing the same thing I did. I just jumped in. I was excited in spite all of the haters, the family and friend members that tell you that it's not going to work. In spite of them, I leaped in, and all of a sudden, I had to adjust my life to the business, and my life became unmanageable. Whoever can relate to that, put a yes in the chat if you have access. What we're going to do, is what no one tells you to do. You got to get clarity first. You see, the business has its place. It's designed as a separate asset to support you to that kind of life that you're looking for, which is having time freedom and consistent profits. And once again, how many of you want time freedom and consistent profits from your business? Put a yes in the chat if you have access. And if time freedom and consistent profits is what you're after. And that is the clarity that you need to get. I'm hoping that that's valuable information, everyone. Look, if a guru or an advisor or a coach or anyone attempts to support you without first starting with clarity as to where you're going with your life, run as fast as you can, because clarity is the only way you can have a roadmap. If they're saying that they have the step-by-step roadmap without clarity, then it's not for you. It's cookie cutter. It's just not for you.
Yeah.
And now that we're getting clarity, there are a few more steps that are involved in clarity. So let's say you want to implement a position of market dominance. Well, first, you have to understand what a position of market dominance is and what it isn't. If you remember from the conversion formula, the captivate, which is the problem the customer has, and the fascinate, the unique solution that you offer. Now that you have those first two steps, which is the position of market dominance, what does that do for you as a business owner by knowing this information? Well, this is where you get into your customer's mind. Remember, they already have a problem. They're looking for a solution and they can't find it. So whoever can articulate that problem and solution in the language of your market in a way that makes sense to them, they raise their hand. That's the business that's going to win. So a few more comments on clarity, because it is so important. Clarity and then the roadmap. All the gurus just want to give you a roadmap. So now you have clarity. We're now putting together a step-by-step, paint-by-numbers roadmap to actually accomplish time freedom and the consistent profits that you're looking for. But you can't get it without the clarity of knowing where you're going. I hope everyone sees why getting clarity is the most important thing before we do another tactic or another thing that the gurus say you're supposed to do. Look, if you don't have clarity, you're here now, you want to get here, you're asking for a roadmap, but you don't know where you're going. It's very important that you know where you're going, and by knowing where you're going, you understand what the hurdles are, because without the clarity, there's no way to complete a plan. So step one is you need to get clear on where you're going, on why you're doing this, on what success looks like. How many of you are just fed up with those up and down sales cycles because you're not quite clear on what you're supposed to do next? Well, if you have access to the chat, put a C in the chat. If having crystal clear clarity is something that's valuable, so that you know exactly where you're headed and have a clear path, because that's that first step. You can't have a position of market dominance if you don't understand where you're going. You can't understand the buyer's journey if you don't understand where you're going. You can't do the 7-step pathway to profit if you don't understand where you're going. Can't do the conversion formula if you don't understand where you're going, and that's the first step. So you cannot produce any of this stuff unless you know where you're going. And by the way, I see this mistake happening all the time, and there's just no understanding of where you're going at the start. So the first step is clarity. You got to know where you're going. The step two is that step-by-step roadmap, but only if you know where you're headed. The step-by-step roadmap in the case of establishing a position of market dominance is, first, we need to identify who the customer is. Second, we need to identify the real problem that the customer has. Third, we have to come up with the solution. And fourth, we have to find ways to test that problem and solution to make sure we have it right. And then finally, we have to leverage our position of market dominance and how we'll use it and create that compelling offer. So we have the actual step-by-step roadmap. That's all created for you. So now we know that's exactly what we want, and that's going to free you up from those up and down sales cycles.
Yeah.
It's also going to free you from the frustration of not knowing where your next customer is going to come from. It's also going to free you from just being part of the rest of the crowd, where you don't stand out and you're just a commodity like everyone else. These steps I laid out is not only the components of a roadmap, If I was to stop right here, that's not a roadmap. Inside a roadmap, you have to manage the time. You have to have the time to do these things. You have to manage the actual effort. That's another thing people do backwards. They start mapping out the time. They put aside an hour for this or 2 hours for that, and they don't even know how long it's really going to take to complete the task. You really need to reverse that. You have the roadmap, so we know that that's necessary, and then there needs to be an associated allotment of time. So before we get to the next step, we're going to take a 90-second break.
Hey there, business owners. Let me ask you something. Are you tired of blending in with your competitors? Frustrated with slow growth and slim margins? Well, I've got news for you. Everything you've done is wrong. But don't worry. I'm here to let you in on a secret weapon, your position of market dominance. It's what sets you apart, makes you irreplaceable, and has customers lining up at your door. My name is Michael Barbarita from Next Step CFO. I know what you're thinking. Sounds great, Michael, but how do I find my position of market dominance? Well, that's exactly why we've created our game-changing implementation program called Next Step to Market Dominance. In just 90 days, we'll guide you step by step to a position of market dominance by uncovering your unique strengths that competitors can't touch, by crafting a message that resonates deeply with your ideal customer, by building a strategy that turns you into the go-to expert in your field. Now, this isn't theory. These are battle-tested strategies that have helped businesses like yours double, triple, and quadruple their revenue. Don't let another quarter go by struggling to stand out. It's time to dominate your market, period. Go to nextstepcfo.net/contact, fill out the form, and in the message section, put the word dominate. Or call us at 781-326-3822. That's nextstepcfo.net/contact, or call us at 781-326-3822.
Okay, Chucky, so now that you have clarity and a step-by-step roadmap, the next step, step 3, is you have to have a skills upgrade. You see, you're a different person now, and what got you to be a 100,000-aire is not going to get you to being a millionaire. So there's a skills upgrade. And some of the people out there might be wondering if they can do this.
Yeah.
You know, can you implement these strategies? Well, now that we know where we're headed and we have the roadmap, you now have to upgrade your skills. So let's talk about some of the skills upgrade. This is where you get into understanding who your customer is. The biggest challenge for business owners is they just can't identify the real problem that their customer already has. And that's a skills upgrade. That skills upgrade is necessary. That's how you separate yourself from your competitors. You need to get clear on what your market is already screaming at the top of their lungs about. And you need to understand what that problem is. And the other thing is important is that when you think about your position of market dominance, you think about the problem that the customer has, you should be doing it in the mindset where you're speaking to one person, not an age range. In other words, how many of you ever met a single human being between the ages of 24 and 54? You know, I mean, that's another problem with why we're struggling, because you're talking to someone who doesn't exist. There's a 27-year-old, and you speak to them one way, and then there's a 50-year-old who is dealing with a completely different set of challenges, although the problem might be the same. But because of where they are in their life, it requires different messaging. So this is where that skills upgrade comes in. The other skills upgrade that's going to occur is really understanding how the position of market dominance converts and how to present the offer. Another one of the skills upgrade is you know how a person asks you what you do for a living, and how you stumble and bumble and try to find the right words to say, and sometimes you find yourself talking too much. And
yeah, it's like an elevator pitch or something.
Yeah,
like
right. But sometimes because people usually, just to make small talk, they'll ask you, what you do for a living,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're at a networking event, what do you do? And lots of times we really don't know. Sometimes you're talking, and the other person starts to look down at their phone, and you don't know what to say. Well, we call that your 10 to 30-second soundbite. And let me tell you why it's so critical that you nail it. And this is all, once again, part of the position of market dominance. You see, when a person meets you, they don't know what to say. So by default, here's what they usually do to start the conversation. They ask, what do you do? And for the person who has intentionally mastered the answer to that question as a marketing strategy, will blow away their competition. Because when you answer that question the right way, there's a few magic words. You'll know if you ask that question the right way, because there's a few magic words that come afterwards that let you know that's my ideal customer, that's my ideal client or referral source. And there are a few magic words that come after telling what you do in the correct manner. So here are those magic words. You nailed your 10 to 30-second soundbite when people ask what you do if they simply say, how do you do that? Now, when they say those magic words, that opens you up to the next step of the sales process. That person just said to you that what you do is of value to them. So do you see how the position of market dominance has all these different applications, all these different ways to communicate? You'll be able to craft that 10 to 30-second soundbite and take the person to the next step of your sales process. And so, Chicken, we've said it many times that the position of market dominance can be in every form of communication that involves your customer. And that includes not only the 30-second soundbite. I've even talked about in the show how some people have put it on their voicemail incoming message.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's multiple ways to communicate that position of market dominance, and that's why it's so valuable. So now that we have clarity and know where we're headed, and you have the step-by-step roadmap, and you've upgraded your skills, the next step, step 4, is mastering your psychology.
Interesting. So, Michael, before we get to that step 4, mastering your psychology, can we provide the audience with a couple of examples of a good 10 to 20-second position of market dominance statement? I think we're getting some interest in just hearing some of those, the statement that would lead to, oh, how do you do that?
Okay, so let's take a real estate broker.
Okay.
And one of the things that he's guaranteeing that the property sells in 29 days, or he'll buy it from you. So at market value. So
interesting.
So the real estate brokers, I sell real estate whereby I help people sell their property in guaranteed 30 days.
Wow. I see what you're saying. So getting some really good comments here from the audience. So as part of that introduction conversation, right, the real estate agent would say something like, all right, my name is John, or my name is Sally, and I'm a real estate agent. I help homeowners sell their home in 29 days or less, or it's free. In essence,
right, I'll buy it.
I'll buy it.
Right.
So then it elicits, that reaction that you talked about, which the listener of that would be like, oh, wow, how do you do that? Because most real estate agents would not make that kind of a guarantee. Is that part of what you're saying? That's correct.
And so I could give you another example, same industry.
Go ahead.
Okay. We'll help you we will help finance I'm a real estate broker. My name is John. I'm a real estate broker. We'll help you finance any improvements that you have, and you'll pay us back at the closing. And so that'll increase the value. So by doing that, that'll increase the value of the property, and it'll make the property look more presentable. The problem the customer has is that they don't have the money to fund the improvements that they'd like to make to make their house look really good and get top dollar.
Yeah.
And so what these real estate brokers do, the ones who utilize that position of market dominance, is they front the money for all the improvements. Just let's say it's $30,000, and normally people have that equity in their homes.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't have access to the capital to make the improvements. They go about making those improvements, and at the closing, they pay the broker back for all the cost of the improvements.
That is absolutely brilliant. The one comment, I think this segues into your next step, is what you're describing, Michael, is business confidence. So you're describing a system where the business owner is so confident in their services or their product where they can make that kind of a bold statement. How does that relate to psychology?
Yeah, well, what you have to do, Chucky, is you have to believe in your product. That, in other words, when you get through with a client,
Mm-hmm.
they are better off having known you than not. And that's not just the client, customers, whatever it is. When I was in the ski business,
Mm-hmm.
if we were able to sell a customer and they had a good time, they were better off knowing us than not knowing us, because they ended up having the experience they wanted on the slopes.
Interesting.
With frozen cookie dough, when we had great sell-throughs for our customers,
Mm-hmm.
they were much better off knowing us and working with us than not working with us. If you believe that is definitely the one part of having the right mindset.
It's very powerful. Thank you.
So now that we have a clarity and know where we're headed, and you have a step-by-step roadmap, and you've upgraded your skills, the next step 4, is mastering your psychology. What it took for you to start the business and what it takes to have a consistent, successful, thriving enterprise requires a different type of mindset. You know, the same person that goes from 0 to 250,000 in sales will never make it past 250,000 in sales unless they have the right mindset to go from 250,000 in sales to the next level. So you need to make sure that you as a person are being upgraded in your mindset along with the business. The business can't grow unless you do. You need to have the right mindset to see things the right way. And let me give you an example of that. We're gonna try something here on live radio. I don't know if it'll work, but we're gonna give it a shot. This is all for those who can see us in video versus just the audio podcast. But I'm gonna hold up this, and I want to hold this up. And Chucky, tell me what you see.
I see, let's see, instructions for use and ingredients, right? So you're holding up this can, and I see instructions for use and ingredients.
Right. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Just because I can't see what you see, because I'm holding the other side of the can, right? I'm holding it on that side, doesn't mean you're wrong. But part of mastering your psychology is where you're looking to go, and you can't see it. But when I turn the container around, now what do you see?
Oh, wow. I see a prominent logo for Glade. So this is like a can for a Glade air freshener.
Right. And what I see and what you see is different.
Yes.
I just don't see Glade anymore. Okay. However, what I see is billions of dollars. I see someone who had to create this container, someone who had to cast it, mold it. That's one company. Someone who had to create the artwork. That's a separate business. Someone who has to create the colors and the logo. That's a separate business. Just because you don't see what I see doesn't make you wrong. It means there's another point of view that can help you get to where you're not. And that's what mastering psychology means. Helping you get to levels that right now you can't see. Okay? And that is a critical step in mastering that in mastering that psychology, in going from 250 to 1 million. 0 to 250 was one type of mindset, but to generate the mindset that goes to 250 to 1 million, you can't see it right now. Okay? But But knowing that you're able to get there is part of the psychology that you need to get to the next level.
It's interesting, Michael. Look, this is just lighting a fire. We're getting some really good comments. One business owner had this statement, and feel free to react to this. The efforts that got you to your most successful year will not be the effort that will get you to your next successful year.
That's right. That's absolutely right. Yeah. Once again, you might not be able to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But you must master the psychology knowing that it's there.
Exactly.
Just like you weren't able to see the Glade logo, but you need to master your psychology to know that it's there.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's what this step is all about. So now that we have clarity and know where we're headed, and we have the step-by-step roadmap, and we've upgraded our skills and mastered our psychology, okay, that's great. But then we have saboteurs. We have organizational terrorists, whatever you want to call it. It's normally family and friends. And they're the ones who are going to tell you that you can't do this, that you're going to fail to get a real job. I mean, anyone ever tell you to get a real job, or they question what you're doing? If you have access, put a yes in the chat. If you're someone who didn't get the support that you needed, or the people that you wanted to believe in the most are telling you that it isn't going to work.
Getting a lot of yeses, Michael.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. It absolutely happens. Well, that's step 5 is all about to make sure that you optimize your environment and make sure that you're surrounded by the right type of people who are going to encourage you and keep you on track, because there's going to be those days that I talked about at the very beginning of the show that you're going to want to quit your business. And there's going to be days that you're just going to ask yourself, why did I go on this journey of becoming a business owner? It's safer and easier to go get a job. It's safer and easier to give up on your dream. And so you need to stay the course, and you can't do it alone. And this is where the beauty of a group environment comes in, as you'll get feedback from not only your strategic implementation strategist, but also from your fellow business owners. What this means to you is that you're not alone in the wilderness. You can get all the support and angles that you need. So now, these are those 5 steps. Once again, whether you hire Next Step CFO or someone else, if you make an investment in something, you absolutely need to cover these 5 steps. Number 1, clarity to know where you're headed. 2, a step-by-step roadmap for direction. 3, a skills upgrade as you grow and develop. 4, mastering your psychology, which means helping you get to levels that right now you can't see. 5, optimizing your environment, which means putting yourself in a supportive environment to counter the people who tell you you can't do it. We're going to take a 90-second break, and after that, we're going to talk about confidence.
Hey there, business owners. Let me ask you something. Are you tired of blending in with your competitors? Frustrated with slow growth and slim margins? Well, I've got news for you. Everything you've ever learned about growing your business is wrong. But don't worry. I'm here to let you in on a secret weapon, your position of market dominance. It's what sets you apart, makes you irreplaceable, and has customers lining up at your door. My name is Michael Barbarita from Next Step CFO. I know what you're thinking. Sounds great, Michael, but how do I find my position of market dominance? Well, that's exactly why we've created our game-changing implementation program called Next Step to Market Dominance. In just 90 days, we'll guide you step by step to a position of market dominance by uncovering your unique strengths that competitors can't touch, by crafting a message that resonates deeply with your ideal customer, by building a strategy that turns you into the go-to expert in your field. Now, this isn't theory. These are battle-tested strategies that have helped businesses like yours double, triple, and quadruple their revenue. Don't let another quarter go by struggling to stand out. It's time to dominate your market, period. Go to nextstepcfo.net/contact, fill out the form, and in the message section, put the word dominate. Or call us at 781-326-3822. That's nextstepcfo.net/contact or call us at 781-326-3822.
Welcome back. So I'd like to add something in the hope that I can motivate you, because being a business owner is hard work. A lot of us wonder why we ever pursued such a journey, but the satisfaction that it brings when you have a successful business is heavenly. And that is what I believe to be the reason why we pursue these endeavors. And by the way, I'd like to give credit to Darren Hardy for the information that I'm about to share. So how can we grow the confidence to stand up and be noticed? Contrary to self-help lore, you can't just chant affirmations in the mirror and be confident. You can't rub crystals or sleep under a pyramid for confidence.
You sure about that, Michael?
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. And you can't beat your chest or walk on hot coals to instantly become confident. That's mental masturbation, and it doesn't work. It just leaves you feeling embarrassed, regretful, and a bit insecure. You see, confidence is earned, it's developed, it's grown. The most important thing to understand about confidence is it's a result, not an outcome, not a cause. You don't start with confidence, you end up with it. No one is born confident. We're all born naked, scared, and ignorant. Only after that treacherous beginning can one grow into confidence. Too many people want to pray, wish, hope, visualize, chant, meditate, subliminally program their way to confidence. That's not how it works. The very definition of confidence is an established belief and conviction in one's abilities based on prior evidence and prior results. That means before you have confidence, you have to act. You have to step into that fear, and only then will that fear dissipate. Once you do that over and over, you'll then start developing skills. Skills are only developed through the process of doing, of taking action over and over again. We talked about skills upgrade earlier. The process really starts with doing. So now with these new skills applied to repeated action, you'll start to experience results. And here's a key point for your notes. Success precedes confidence. You see, this is where most people have it backwards. You don't wait for confidence and then become successful. No, you're confident because of the evidence of success. Success begets confidence. Then confidence begets more success. And then it's important not to become lazy and complacent. Don't take your success for granted, because confidence is fickle. You have to keep reinforcing confidence. You have to keep growing it. If your success or progress stagnates or declines, so will your confidence, and then the cycle works backwards to a tailspin. So how do you gain confidence to be noticed? Well, it's by doing the thing. As Ralph Waldo Emerson put it, the law of nature is to do the thing, and you shall have the power. But he also added, but they who do not do the thing have not the power. So whenever you want to gain confidence in, just do the thing. Take action. Deeds, not words. Stop talking about it. Act on it.
Yes.
So, yeah, Chicky, that's really having that confidence and just getting out there and watching the fear dissipate is something that every business owner needs to experience.
Yes.
So that they can keep moving forward every day. Otherwise, they get into this rut. And what's very important is what I said about success. Confidence being fickle. You have to keep reinforcing it, because what happens is if you keep doing it, the fear dissipates.
Yes.
But if you stop doing it, the fear starts to come back. And
point.
It can actually work in reverse. And it's amazing how that works. Well, Chucky, it's time now for some compliments.
Yes.
So if you could, start that segment of the show, that'd be great.
Yeah, look, very energized to get into our business compliments segment for the show. Michael, I do have to say, your outline of confidence is quite powerful. Actually reminds me of a spiritual principle about how faith without works is dead, right? And that's
Right.
exactly what you're getting after, just this idea that you really do have to put the work in and the action and the deeds in.
Yep.
Very powerful. Look, Michael, these business compliments are coast to coast, even global in some sense, right? I mean, the resonance here and the energy here is just picking up week after week. So thank you for your leadership on this. There are 5 business owners that we want to spotlight. Again, these business owners have businesses that are coast to coast. Some have services, some have products, but just really impressed with the progress that these individuals are making. So let's start with Brian Perry. Brian Perry with Outdoor Lighting Perspectives. The website is outdoorlights.com. Here's their headline: transform your home into a work of art. And Brian and team really live up to that commitment. They provide full service outdoor lighting for both residential and commercial applications. So hats off. And Brian, you and your team continue to make progress. The second business owner that we want to spotlight as part of Business Compliments is Seth Hickerson with My Steady Mind. Michael, here's their headline: master your emotions. It actually synergizes really well with a lot of the concepts that you've shared as part of those critical steps, particularly the point about psychology, just really impactful. I love what Seth and team say. They say, as part of mastering your emotions, you can identify a cheat code to overcome negative self-talk, to overcome a lack of focus, and to eradicate mental exhaustion. So really savvy perspectives that Seth and team offer. They are at mysteadymind.com. The third business owner that we want to spotlight is Shakar Kandecker with CDK Consultancy. This is a management consulting firm. Here's their headline: unlock operational excellence. Shakar has been doing this for 4 decades, Michael.
Wow.
Working with engineering as well as executive level stakeholders and driving operational effectiveness with training, with development programs. You can find out more about Shakar and team at cdkconsultancy.com. The fourth business owner is Rob Neitzel with Peak Pulp Performance Consulting. Michael, I so love this focus. They call it the P3C. That's a nice way to sort of encapsulate what they do. Peak Pulp Performance, P3C. So look, Rob and team, and before we even get a little bit deep on this, just really quickly. So Rob, thank you for your service. He's a member of the military. Really appreciate the sacrifice and service. Rob and team specialize in optimizing organizational performance by helping you as a business owner refine your daily operations, enhance your communications, and really make progress on your KPIs, your key performance indicators. So hats off to Rob and team. And then the last business owner that we want to spotlight in today's Business Compliments segment is Bennett Goldberg with Artery Capital Group. Here's their headline: investing, developing, building, and managing real estate since 1959. 1959, Michael. So I got a few years of experience, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So look, Bennett and team, experts at sales, marketing, and strategic planning. Michael had the opportunity to have a book interview conversation with Bennett, which he found very helpful. Michael also found quite insightful as well. So a lot of insights were shared back and forth. And Michael, this is probably a good juncture to let folks know about the book interview.
Yes, that's a great idea, Chucky. So we're business is always changing. And so Chucky and I keep updating additional additions to our book.
Yes.
And we go over a lot of the powerful business strategies that we talk about on the show in the book interview and ask your opinions as to whether or not these strategies would work in your industry. And so that's the thrust of the book interview. So you'll learn strategies that your competition isn't doing. And by the same token, we will get insights from you on your industry as to whether or not these strategies that we talk about on this show will work. And so it helps both of us we get information for our, we get updated information from business owners for our book, and you get to learn strategies, business and financial strategies that your competition isn't doing. So if you would like to participate in a book interview, it's very simple. Go to nextstepcfo.net, hit the contact page at the top, fill out the form, and in the message section, put book interview, and then send it along. And we'll be happy to contact you and schedule a time for us to interview you. And it would be just a great way for both of us to have a win-win.
Yes.
So just to repeat those 5 steps, I do want to just summarize. So you want to get clarity. You want to know where you're going, know where you're headed. That's step 1. Step 2 is a step-by-step roadmap. So whatever strategy or process that you're implementing, you need that step-by-step roadmap. Third is you want to upgrade your skills, because whatever it took to be a 100,000-aire is not what's going to take to be a millionaire. You have to upgrade your skills. You have to improve your skills. Fourth is mastering your psychology. Just mastering your psychology is so important, because what took you from going from 0 to 250,000 is different from going from 250,000 to $1 million or more in sales. It's just a different psychology, and it also means helping you get to levels that right now you can't see. And then optimizing your environment, which means putting yourself in a supportive environment to counter the people who tell you that you cannot do it. And so to get a copy of the book, Powerful Business Strategies, simply go to our website, www.nextstepcfo.net. It's totally complimentary. And until next Monday at noon Eastern Time, for Chucky Obio, this is Michael Barbarita. And remember, don't keep doing what your competition is doing.
Thank you.
You have been listening to Powerful Business Strategies, finding out that everything you ever learned about growing your business is wrong. Tune in next week and every week at noon Eastern Time on W4CY Radio with your host, Michael Barbarita of Next Step CFO, and moderator, Chucky Obio.